Hello, everyone. We are going to get started. So, hi, my name is Jasmine Woodard with NACE, and I'd like to welcome you all to today's webinar, No Student Left Behind, Leverage AI to Support Gen Z in a Tough Job Market. We encourage you all to actively participate in the chat and please post any questions in the Q&A. It is my pleasure to introduce Jeremy Scheifling, owner of the Job Insiders. Take it away, Jeremy.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Jasmine. Thank you also to Liana, who I'll be introducing in a moment, and to all the amazing folks who've taken time out of your Friday right before a weekend to come join in. So please give a lot of love to your amazing hosts, to Nace and to Jasmine. And then I want you to meet Liana. So Liana is coming to you as a fellow coach, someone who's been on this journey with you. Liana, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Good morning and good afternoon to some of you on the East Coast. Good morning for where I am on the West Coast. My name is Liana Johan. I am the Partner Success and Education Manager here at JobScan. And it's my pleasure to be with all of you today in supporting all of your students with their career development and their career success. I've been in the world of sort of career development and success even previous to JobScan. Before JobScan, I was a career coach myself, supporting students out here on the West Coast of Canada. And have been under the umbrella of student affairs for about 12 years, again, previous to my time at JobScan. So a long time to be in student affairs. So very happy to spend this Friday morning, Friday afternoon with all my people who are here also under the umbrella of student affairs. So excited to be here with all of you. Something that I love from presentations like this are all of the reactions. I'm seeing little hearts, celebrations, things like that. So during the presentation, one thing I do love to see, because sometimes I might not be able to see the chat very quickly, is the use of reactions in here. So if you see that emoji, that react button, that heart symbol there, I love it. So go ahead and use that. I'm seeing some thumbs up. Amazing. And one thing I do want to sort of talk about today is we have a special prize for folks who are hanging out with us all for the hour. So if you are going to stay for the whole thing, oh my gosh, I'm seeing so many of the reactions. I love it. Yes. If you are staying and hanging out with us for the full hour, JobScan is going to give you a prize. We'll select one lucky winner who stays with us for the whole hour. Something really juicy, yummy, scrumptious, a nice little prize in the sort of three-figure digit number here. So very much looking forward to seeing who's going to hang out with us for the whole hour. Okay, back
I
to you,
wish there was a
Jeremy.
way, Liana, that we could tie that prize to the emoji button. If you are the
Right?
most, if your emoji game is the tightest, you should win the prize. Well, that being said, we'll work on that. But for
Right.
now, welcome. Quick intro of myself. Similar to Liana, I've had this very varied career going from being a kindergarten teacher to being a career coach, working inside LinkedIn, and then ultimately working at Khan Academy when we had early access to ChatGPT before it had even launched. But what I'm most proud of is just working with you all, getting a chance to work with awesome career leaders around the world on what, frankly, is one of the toughest job markets any of us has probably ever seen. So, that being said, I do have to warn you, because Liana and I are educators at heart, we don't want to have that standard webinar that's just a million bullet points. We want to bring this thing to life. We want to earn your excitement here on a Friday morning. So, with that said, we've got pop quizzes coming your way. We've got some live demos. Liana's going to show you every single thing live, no bullet points. And by the way, if you volunteer to join us for a live demo, we will go to bat for you by giving you a free copy of a book or even a free LinkedIn profile makeover for yourself or someone who could really benefit it in your world. And then finally, most importantly, head over to that Q&A, ask your juiciest questions, ask your spiciest questions, bring that Friday heat to kick off this weekend right. And with that said, let's start with a really juicy pop quiz. According to the most recent data that's come in just in the last couple of weeks, which of these three groups is having their jobs attacked by AI the fastest right now? Is it A, those poor liberal arts grads like myself? B, the junior programmers of the world? Or C, uh-oh, is it us, the career coaches, who are really in trouble? And so what are you seeing here, Liana? What's the sort of zeitgeist of the crowd that you're seeing in all those comments?
I think we're seeing an overwhelming amount of Bs. Like that
Yeah,
was the first huge chunk I saw. Everybody was like going for junior programmers. There's a
yeah.
sprinkling of like A, liberal arts grads and career coaches, A and C as well. Yeah, Adrienne said that. But we are seeing a lot of people type in here B, for junior
I,
programmers.
I think it just shows that like this group is totally on top of it because,
Hmm.
we've all seen these reports in the news recently that yes, AI is just sort of threatening in general, but there is a specific level of threat for folks at the entry level stage, and particularly for those coming in at the programming focus. So check this out.
Hmm.
First things first. We all know that it's a tough time in the economy in general, and especially for new grads. For the first time in the history of tracking this across America, the unemployment rate for new grads is now higher than the unemployment rate for all Americans. And while this might seem like, oh, of course, new grads are going to get the sort of short end of the stick, recognize that as a former hiring manager, I love to hire new grads because they're cheap, they're relatively easy to hire. There were a lot of advantages that our grads had, and that advantage has been eroded and is now a disadvantage. So that's number one. Number two is who's really getting the shortest end of the stick? It's actually not the liberal arts grads, it's their friends over in computer science. And what the heck is going on? But I think if you think about the reality of what ChatGPT can do, ChatGPT is pretty lousy at being able to really analyze something culturally, really understand something deeply. But if you say, build me Tetris, the kind of thing that you might ask a junior computer science major to do, it'll just say, okay, no problem, let's build Tetris. And so all of this creates this anxiety of, wait a second, if AI is threatening the very jobs that our students were counting on as recently as 2 or 3 years ago, where does that leave us as career coaches? And so that leads to this big question of if we're going to make sure that our students are set up for success, we got to engage with them. We have to have a working relationship to support their success. And so I've got to ask you, according to some data that just came out, what percentage of students report never engaging with career services during their 4 or more years on campus? And what are you seeing here, Liana? Is it 21%, 31%, 41%? Where are
Well,
people's heads at?
everyone in the chat, most people in the chat, someone just spammed C, 41%. I could feel whoever that was who's already scrolled by, I can feel your anger about that. I understand completely. Yeah, we're not reaching the amount of students that we should be, for
Right. And I
sure.
know I always felt this very acutely at University of Michigan when I was a coach. I was like, we're doing amazing things every day. We're working miracles for our students, but you got to show up. Well, I'm
Hmm.
happy to say it's not quite as bleak as that. It's actually closer to 31%, according to Inside Higher Ed. But the reality is that still a massive chunk of students who's not showing up, not engaging, and then not getting the benefit. So when they're out there in the world struggling, they don't have the advantage of our support. Okay, with all of that said, what we've got to do more than ever in 2025 is not just say, okay, that's just the way it is, but actually do what EMTs do every day, Liana, which is
Hmm.
triage. Say, hey,
Hmm.
we know some of our students are absolutely crushing it. That's awesome. But some are struggling and struggling silently. If there was some way to really understand who's struggling and how we can reach them, that could be a superpower for us as coaches.
Hi, welcome. I'm glad to be here. You want my camera on or off?
I don't think you can actually turn it on in the Zoom webinar.
Okay,
I'm sorry about that.
that's
But
good.
you're coming through loud and clear, Eugene.
I'm wearing my Rutgers shirt, so
Oh, okay. That is awesome.
how can
So,
I help?
Eugene, I don't know if you can see all the emojis that are flooding in, but you are getting a lot of Rutgers love, even without the Rutgers shirt. So, a lot of fans of the Scarlet Knights here. That being said, Eugene, tell us how it works for you at the business school. How do you sort of figure out which of your Scarlet Knights are engaging, which ones are missing out on the support of your team? How does that work?
Well, I think first of all, you're right. This is a huge problem. I think they're probably wrong at 31%. At the
Okay,
business school, I know
interesting. Wow.
we probably have more engagement than School of Arts and Sciences, but I would imagine it's between the 31 and the 41 here.
Wow.
We're using 1220 as our platform so we can see what students are engaging with or not. We reach out a lot. We're embedded in the clubs. We're embedded wherever we can possibly be. We do many events, and we have a separate building, which helps. I made about 1,000 pounds of popcorn yesterday to try
Oh
to
my
get for a
goodness.
resume review. So that's what we try to do. But we also run a class. Well, we used to run the class. We have a career management class for Rutgers Business School that is mandatory. Um, since when OCM, Office of Career Management, used to run it, we had much higher engagement. Now it's run by a different department, so that's dropped off a little bit. So it's a
Yeah.
constant struggle. I don't know
Yeah.
that I have any magic answers, but it's a
No, no. And I think what you just laid out is kind of a playbook for anyone listening out there. Like, wow, okay, these are cool things we should be trying. Liana says her students always love pizza because food is the way to
Food,
any
food.
student's heart.
absolutely.
Um, that being said, have you ever used JobScan? Are you familiar with that tool, Eugene?
I have not yet, and I'm not sure that any of the staff has yet. That's kind of like why I think two of us at least are on this webinar today.
Okay, that's cool because I was going to say I've used JobScan for a long time as a career coach, as a job seeker myself. What I didn't realize, not having access to the admin side of it, is they actually have some tools built in to help do this triage. And so, Liana, if you don't mind sharing your screen,
For
I would
sure.
personally would just love to see how that works in terms of how do you figure out who's engaging, who's not, how do you make sure you reach the right students? So, Liana, take
Yeah,
it away.
for sure. Thank you, Jeremy. And I just want to add too from the statistics of the students who don't engage with career services. There are many reports also, like for folks who are familiar with Simplicity, they run a report every year about sort of student trends. One of those reports that come up for why students don't engage with career services, one of the top reasons is because just of timing and convenience. You know, career services were open 9 to 5, sometimes till 4:30. Some students are still in classes and they will always prioritize going to class first, right? So how do we reach those students outside of the timing of our office hours, right? So I'm going to now look at JobScan and look at how we can use sort of this big picture data to make more strategic decisions and plans on how to engage with students. So here we go. This is JobScan for the coach side. All right. Can everybody see my screen? Can I get some thumbs up if we're all good here?
I'm not seeing your screen, Liana.
Oh,
Or maybe folks are seeing it.
oh,
Never mind.
I'm seeing a ton
Okay.
of the I love that everybody does
Oh,
have
okay. Yeah, I
found
got it over
the
here.
the,
Very good. Very
the
good.
emojis or
That's
react
awesome.
buttons. Thank you. Just a flood of thumbs up. Okay,
Woohoo.
amazing. So on the admin side, for the coach side, when you are partnered with JobScan, we give you this domain and this dashboard to look at student usage, adoption, engagement. You get all of the features that the students gets for your resume optimization, your LinkedIn scanning, and things like that. But one thing I love about this is all of those big picture data that will really help me strategically to make some decisions on where I can use my time in my team. All right. So the first thing here we're looking at is the adoption of the tool. Month over month, I can see if students are using it and if students are also telling their classmates about, it's like, oh, here's JobScan, I used this and this was great, and more students coming in. Eugene, I see your hand up. Was that a question that you wanted to, or you're good?
It's a mistake.
Okay, no problem
No worries.
here.
No worries.
Okay,
We're going to come back to you in a moment. So hang on a second, Eugene.
Uh-oh.
Go
awesome.
for it, Liana.
Okay, so here I'm looking at students coming. So we love to see this positive trend here of our graph to see, okay, more students are coming in, they're finding this tool useful, amazing, great. On a more minute level here, right, I can see the students that are using it. So from this data here, which again, all exportable as CSV, if you need to do any reporting for your higher ups, for your manager, one thing I'm going to use this tool for is look at a student's activity. How many resumes have they scanned? How many LinkedIn's have they scanned? So their profile, getting sort of that optimization feedback. And also when was the last time they logged in? When was the last time they had a scan? From this, what I'm looking at like James here. He's got 152 resume scans. He's doing a lot. He's pushing out a lot of resumes. And the last time he scanned was this morning, September 12th. James is okay. He's good to go. He's actively using the tool. He doesn't need, any sort of attention. He's a well-oiled machine. We're okay in here. But from my student list, I might take a second to look at maybe a student who I might flag for myself, oh, something's happening here. Let's say for Joe JobScan, his last login was August 5th. It's like, oh, why is that? It's been more than a month since he's used this tool, but I know he's probably actively using the tool. I can peek into his profile to impersonate client to see, oh, maybe Joe needs a little bit of help. So I can proactively engage with the student to say, hey, how's it going? Like, do you need help? For students who might have a flag to say, there, something might be going on here. When I impersonate client here, when I want to go into their profile, so I'm going to go into their profile. I'm going to go impersonate them here. And I'm just going to refresh this for a second. My internet, on Fridays, just the
I know
internet.
it's always Friday.
It's asking me to log in again. I love
Yeah.
it. Just give
Um,
me a second to relog
no
info.
worries at all. But let me go back to you for a second, Eugene. So
Mhm.
is this how you use 1220? Like, are you coming in and basically applying that kind of table view and then filtering for students who are disengaged?
Uh, oh, sorry about that.
Oh,
No,
sorry.
not yet. I'm not doing
Okay.
that yet. We have certain dashboards and things like that, but right now, this is so early in the semester. Right now, our council is just busy trying to meet with as many people as they can. Our career fairs are coming up in a couple of weeks, so probably in October, we'll start to take a look at that stuff, and then we'll
Got
be.
it. Got it. So give them a chance to actually get some action out there in the world. I guess the thing that I was thinking, Liana, when I was looking at your screen is back at
Mhm.
University of Michigan, when everything was done on
Mhm.
spreadsheets, I would have loved the ability to just sort of filter for everyone who hasn't done something recently, export it
Yeah,
into a CSV, and then blast them like a mail merge. Just
for
saying, hey,
sure.
like I just noticed, you're getting ready for resume season. Are you ready for prime time?
For sure. I mean, with our reports, they're all downloadable as a CSV. So you already are getting that engagement piece there with all of their data of like who is engaging, who's doing some scans, when was their last login. And then from there, you're able to filter. We have some filtering in here. But now I'm impersonating Joe here. Thank you all for your patience. Friday, my laptop's on a Friday mood as well. They decided it's the weekend. So if I am looking at a student's profile for Joe, why hasn't Joe done anything for the last month? I know Joe personally, like, why is he not actively applying? I can go to Joe's job tracker because say here, I'm impersonating Joe. And what's happening here is I can look at all of the jobs he saved, jobs he's applying for, jobs he's got interviews for, and he's got 3 offers here. So this is probably why, oh, Joe's got offers. He's okay. He just didn't let me know as his career coach. That's totally fine. Maybe he did accept one of these offers and that's why he's not actively applying. So he's good. We're okay here. So in terms of impersonating, I can exit impersonation mode here and then go back to my coach profile, this coach admin dashboard, and then look at other students as well if they need help. So I can do a little bit of proactive exploring in terms of engaging and reaching out to students who might need some help in here. And to your point, Jeremy, we've got tons of filters that we can filter. And then again, download this so that we can see a full list of students who we might want to engage with depending on up to you, up to your stats of like, do we engage with students who haven't scanned in a long time or just haven't done a resume scan? Those are filters and like you can download the CSV here. But one thing I love, again, talking about those strategic decisions and strategic plans is companies and job titles here. This is, again, big picture data that we are tracking for you. Companies here, we are tracking what your students or where your students are applying, where your students are scanning against, the companies that they're most interested in. So when I was a career coach, I had to do resume reviews, mock interviews, career fair, and employer engagement. Those are things under my portfolio. This is so helpful in this of just like getting a pulse check on the industries that my students are actually interested in. This helps to sort of look at, okay, which are employers that we should engage for maybe career fair or for employer info sessions. That was one of my roles at a previous role is employer info sessions and asking employers to come to do sort of just informational interviews with our students. So providing students opportunities to engage with employers that they're already interested in. And again, downloadable as CSV if you need to do any reporting. And additionally, job titles. So this one's really interesting depending also on the student population that you support. So if you support undergrads versus grad students, this could look different from population to population. This really helped to look at maybe the soft skills I want to help my students develop. So in my job titles here, are our students applying to solo contributor roles? Are they applying to team lead roles? Are they trying to get promoted? If it's grad students, master students, they're trying to get promoted. Do these roles require a little bit more communication skills building, leadership skills building, maybe public speaking? Could we develop career development programming on boot camps and workshops for those communication skills, leadership skills, team leadership skills, project management skills, all of those soft skills that they might not be able to practice in class with their curriculum, right? How do we sort of minimize that gap for their skills, for those soft skills? So these are sort of like the big picture stuff that I love to see from this data to be able to make those strategic decisions in here. So that's how I'll use JobScan, the coach side, to see a lot of those trends in there. So
I
back to
love that,
you.
Liana. I just want to say,
Yeah,
like, one of the things I shared in the chat is this is not just for coaches, obviously. This is for the
mhm.
employee relations team. Like, this could
Exactly.
be kind of a lead list as you think about, hey, who do we want to
Hmm.
engage with to make sure we're aligned with our students' interests. So this is cool.
Correct.
Eugene, I want to bring you back into the conversation because there's this roaring chat going on right now. And a lot of it is like, okay, we love this idea of gathering data, but how do we actually get students' attention? And so, Eugene, do you have any solutions that you guys are doing at Rutgers, whether it's like text messaging or any kind of other communication channel that's really effective for breaking through?
We don't use texting. We haven't tried that yet. I saw one of the comments come through, the block number, and that's what I've
Yeah, right.
block the number. Our main source is still email. I'm a big fan of Mary Scott's research, and students will always tell us they don't want email, and then when they fill out her survey, the number one way they want to hear about jobs and things like that is through email.
Oh
So
my
I think
goodness.
we're all fighting that same
Yeah.
tell me what I want to give me what I need or whatever it is kind of a thing. So that's our main way. We also post through the platform. So we have a way of posting directly through the platform. That's about it. And then, like I said, standing around and giving them food. That's
Yep, that's right.
Going into
Well,
the
Liana,
class.
this is a tip for your product management team over at JobScan. If they can develop some kind of JobScan ESP that allows career coaches to communicate directly cranium to cranium, that could be a breakthrough thing. But in the meantime, this is awesome. Eugene, you were particularly fabulous. Please drop me a line on LinkedIn because I would love to go to bat for you, send you a book, send you a profile makeover, whatever's most useful. Okay, Eugene?
No problem. Thank you very much.
Give it up for Eugene. He was fabulous. And then let's take some questions, Leon. We got some juicy questions here. We'll start with a question from Crystal. When we think about the traditional higher education paths, both undergrad and grad, how is the AI movement also interacting with the movement for credentialing on specific skills? And I was thinking about you in this context because I was thinking, JobScan, as we're about to see, is really good for skill measurement and comparison with job descriptions. Any thoughts about that in terms of AI is changing all of this stuff, and yet we also have this parallel movement saying, get certified, get the skills proven out?
I think that skills development is sort of the direction of where we're going, even for education in a sense, right? And as we can see in the trends, in sort of like an economic not so great time, we do see the boost in education. People will now reinvest in education, whether that's credentialing, some online certificates, free certificates, and all of that kind of stuff. With this AI movement, there definitely is this focus on AI related skills. So now there are jobs that are popping up that didn't exist 5 years ago, right? There are AI prompt engineers, prompt developers, things like that. AI skills are going to be one of those things that I think are necessary just to communicate that you have a relationship with AI, that you know how to use it, because employers are looking at how do we utilize AI in our business, and we need somebody who has that experience in that. We see that in multiple different trends of, like, I think in JobScan, we also had posted recently of like one of the top skills that are growing in terms of even being seen on job descriptions is just AI related skills. You know how to use AI to maximize sort of output, maximize productivity in your own role, whatever role that may be. Yeah. So we are seeing those AI relationship type skills.
Yeah. And I just wanted to actually expand on what we were talking about at the very beginning, because I know it was a juicy topic all to its own self, which is, we were talking about how good AI has become at basic programming tasks. So for example, here's the Tetris game that it programmed for me. That being said, I want to show you what the Wall Street Journal and what the Stanford researchers behind it were showing, which is, for the longest time, and I'm sure you guys have seen this as career coaches, if you were a CS major, you were one of the chosen few, because year after year, the opportunities were up and to the right. And that was true whether you were a new grad or an experienced pro. And then all of a sudden, along comes November 2022. And Liana, do you recall what comes out in November 2022? A certain AI tool that we all use today. ChatGPT launches in November 2022. And look at this. All of a sudden, those railroad trains that were on the exact same tracks are now ships passing in the night. Where, if you are an experienced programmer, your opportunities continue to grow and grow. In fact, there are even more opportunities because now you're working on AI stuff. Versus if you're a brand new grad, the floor falls out. And I think what this indicates, if you think about the skills behind this, is these folks aren't just better programmers than these folks, but they have a lot of other humanistic skills. team leadership, project management, communication, relationship building, all the stuff that our students may lack because they have not developed that in their first 20 years. And so I think it's incumbent upon us as coaches to really interrogate what's going on here and say, hey, it's not just enough to be great at coding. You got to be great at the human things that AI will never be able to do well. And if we can help our students master those skills, get certified in those skills, I think that their trajectories will look more like this than like that. So just wanted to call that out. Okay, that being said, I know we're running a little bit behind, so I'm going to keep on rolling here, and I'm going to ask the next pop quiz. Okay, here are the scary stats for being a recruiter in 2025. First things you got to know is that because there have been all these layoffs in the last couple of years, who's been laid off first at all these companies? It's the recruiters. And so there are fewer recruiters left to handle the jobs that are open. And then at the same time, if you are getting resumes for all of those openings, you're getting more resumes than ever because AI makes it so easy to apply to an incremental application. So bottom line, the job of a recruiter here in 2025 is no longer just finding the perfect fit, but really getting rid of all the people who don't fit as fast as possible. And how do they know who doesn't fit? Is it the resumes that are too long? Is it the resumes that don't match the job description? Or is it the resumes where they caught your students using AI somehow? Liana, what are you seeing in the chat?
People are on the money with B here. The one thing, the resumes that don't match the job description.
Yeah, and this is funny because this is like back to the future stuff. When I was a recruiter earlier in my career at Teach for America, and we were bombarded with thousands of applications for every job, and we had a small nonprofit recruiting team, we had to do that same thing that we just talked about with EMTs. We had to do triage. We couldn't possibly read every last resume. We had to read the ones that most made sense so we could maintain our sanity. And so, with that in mind, what I'm so excited about 20 years later is that we finally have the tools to help our students level the playing field, to ultimately make sure that they belong in those conversations. Give it up for Denise, your best emojis.
Whoops.
And Denise, welcome,
Trying
welcome,
to do
welcome.
my unmute. Oh, there I am.
There you are. Hey, Denise.
Hi.
How are you?
I don't know where my video is.
Oh, yeah.
Well, hi anyway. I
You're
can't
coming
find the
through loud
button
and
for the
clear.
video, but hi.
Give
That's
it up
right.
for the community college world because these guys have even bigger challenges in terms of doing more with less. So Denise, you've come to the right place. If we could give you a tool to help your students really make sure that they fit that ATS, they fit what the recruiter is looking for, and they're not just getting rejected over and over again, would that be helpful?
Well, of course.
Of course, I know. I'm kind of leading the witness here. I know that.
You kind of let the witness, yes.
But that being said, let's get to the good stuff. So, Liana, feel free to share your screen.
Sounds
And
good.
what we're going to do here, Denise, is we're going to do an actual demo of how you might look inside the ATS, gaze into that black box, and help your students figure out how to stand out. And to make this
Yeah.
really interesting, I'm going to actually have Liana use my personal resume and see if Liana can help me get a job on the Facebook AI team. Have you heard, Denise, how much these Facebook AI people are making these days?
I cannot, it has to be just an insane number that'll make your head spin, I'm thinking, but
So you
oh,
might
look
have
at
thought,
that.
oh, 645,000, that's amazing. But then you
Wow.
realize they are now getting paid 100 million, 200 million, even reportedly $1 billion. And you know what, Denise? As much as I love career coaching, I'm thinking about a career change. So I need your help and I need Liana's help to break in. Okay, take it away, Liana.
Okay, awesome. So, here we go with Dropscan as a tool to help your students with optimizing their resume. Jeremy, I looked at that job posting for Facebook this morning, and unfortunately, it closed. They're closed. They're not
Oh
taking
no!
any more applications.
Everyone wants those jobs fast, right?
I know. So what I did instead was look at the next tech companies. I'm just like, let's look at all the other tech companies and what they're hiring for. So I
You know what,
pulled
Liana? I'll settle for 50 million. 50 million's fine.
50 million. I think that's great. I pulled up some job postings from Microsoft, but also from Amazon and Nvidia, and also from Airbnb, just to run some tests here. Let's see how you do against all of these jobs here at the big tech companies that we're looking at, right? So with your resume, let's look at applying for the senior director, this product marketing role here. This one that I pulled up when I just typed in product. And I'm going to copy paste this job description into JobScan and then use your resume. So when I click View Scan here, here's the job description, and I'm going to upload your resume that I have here as a PDF. Awesome. And I'm just going to click Power Edit and then get some feedback on not just sort of the skills that are matching or not matching, but one thing that I love about JobScan, even when I was a career coach, the thing that really helped me was identifying the applicant tracking system that this company is using. Myself as a career coach, there was no way that I could have that just data in my mind of what companies use what applicant tracking systems and what those applicant tracking systems use. There are over 70 different applicant tracking systems in the market, and companies can change ATS to ATS and also build their own ATSs in-house, right? So right now, Jeremy, your resume is coming in at 31%, which is not a terrible score, but there's
Oh, no.
tons of things that we can do. And one of the first things I want to do is fill in. So like where I got this job from, I want to put the URL in here for the senior director role at Microsoft, right? Putting that in there, I'm going to update the details. And then really quickly, if we're able to identify the applicant tracking system, amazing, we'll look at it in searchability. However, here, for Microsoft, because it is a big, big company, we do say, hey, there are some large technology companies that use proprietary in-house ATSs. That's their IP, their intellectual property. We don't have a ton of information on this because that is kept within, their circle, their engineering team. But we can give you feedback on ATS best practices with your hard skills and soft skills. So based off that job description, there are some skills in here that we could add to your resume. Things like product roadmap, customer satisfaction. And if your students need help with writing bullet points, that's one click away. They can click one
Yeah.
here and then get some suggestions on how to incorporate this into your resume, right?
I wanted to stop right there, Leon, because I think this is where the rubber really hits the road. It's one thing to be like, hey, here's a list of skills,
Yeah.
figure out some way to get it in.
Yeah.
But Denise, tell me this, for your students at Owens Community College, are they usually like really well equipped to figure out how to naturally incorporate all these things into their resumes? Is that a sort of natural skill for a lot of them?
Well, particularly remembering that I'm guessing that a lot of folks here are from four-year schools.
Yep.
And you guys are so lucky because you get more time with the kid. I call them all kids. So because you get more time with the kids. So I'm going to say that, we're trying to help them with these skills, but in general, you knew the answer when you asked, Jeremy.
I know, again, leading the witness, guilty as charged. But yeah, you're absolutely right. And I think even for like my MBAs at the University of Michigan, they had a hard time explaining how exactly they had done these things. So I think that's really helpful. Keep going, Liana. Like how could we incorporate all this stuff to get me to that $50 million payout that I'm counting on?
For sure. So in like hard skills and soft skills, let's say I am looking at customer satisfaction as a free suggestion. If I like it, I can copy it and then paste it into my resume where I feel it's right. But for here at JobScan, when I am speaking to students about using AI, then we still have that message of AI is great for you to speed your process along. And you can see now incorporating customer satisfaction as a key skill has boosted my score by 3 points, and I'm at 34 now, right? That's great. However, with the use of AI, us as ethical human beings, it's still on us to make sure and validate that whatever AI has generated for us is an accurate reflection of our skills and experience, right? Not encouraging anyone to lie on their resume. However, this is a great tool to speed things along and also support any students that experience like language barriers or English as a second language, because we know some ATSs can be very particular about how they extract that information, which is why, Jeremy, I also put your resume against a job at Amazon for AWS, a job at NVIDIA, and a job at Airbnb. And your same resume scored all over the board, 46% here, 40% here, and 37% here.
And this is so important. I wish we could bottle what you just said and download it into the brain of every member of Gen Z, which is one size fits all resumes, fit no job descriptions, right? Every job description is a unique snowflake.
Absolutely. So even in here, right, we can look at the different assessment criteria of the ATS, talking about, again, the particularness of each applicant tracking system. So for Airbnb, the ATS that's identified here is Greenhouse. And I'll zoom in a little bit for everybody to see here. What is Greenhouse doing? Greenhouse cannot recognize different tenses, abbreviations, or acronyms of skills and keywords. So customer service is going to be different from client service. So even the grammatical structure, the tenses are so important. So all those AI features that we have for suggestion generation is in line with what that ATS is going to be looking for. And here, Greenhouse uses frequency of skill to determine search result ranking. So the more it's mentioned in the job description and the more you mention it in your resume, the better you'll look as a candidate for a company that's using Greenhouse like Airbnb. This is not the same for NVIDIA, let's see here, that uses Workday. So searchability here, NVIDIA uses Workday. And Workday ATS, what we recommend is complete your job history within the Workday ATS. Workday ATS, if for some of you who are familiar, they'll ask you to sort of fill in that information again. So we're like, just fill it in into Workday is going to be your best bet.
And
So
I just want to give a little like
yeah.
side note here, Liana. For those who are really interested in the ATS space, Workday, as you know, is currently the subject of a lawsuit about discrimination, kind of at the like cutting edge of AI-based hiring and what all this means. So for those who are curious about bias in AI and all these things, definitely check out the article I just shared because it gets into the details. But just wanted to plug that because I know we're going to geek out on the ATSs here.
Yeah. So that's really a snapshot of like looking first at the ATS that the company is using, because those are the boundaries that your students need to work within. What are the capabilities of that ATS? Because some aren't that sophisticated where, again, they can say customer service and client service are the same thing. Those sometimes are two different things for a particular ATS. And also then just going through again, the hard skills and the soft skills of like, what are the things I'm actually missing from this resume? What can I speak to? What can I add? And then how do I really, set myself up to boost the score, to pass the ATS, to get to the human recruiter, to get to the interview portion. So that's a quick look at our resume optimizer.
All right. Thank you, Liana. We got a ton of questions coming in, which I love. So keep those going in the Q&A. For now, I just want to give Denise another blast of love because Denise, you were awesome. And what I would love to do, especially given some of the challenges you mentioned facing, I don't want to just give you one book or one profile makeover. I want to give you 5 books or 5 profile makeovers. So please shoot me a message on LinkedIn. Let me go to bat for you, your students, your teammates, whoever could benefit. Thank you so much for all you're doing out there, Denise.
Thank you for allowing me to participate, and I'll drop you a note. Thank you.
Go Denise. Okay. Big question, Liana. Here's is coming in from the chat. It says, and I think actually maybe someone spoke to this in the chat, but it was, what's the ideal match rate? Everyone was looking at my 30% or 40%. Yeah. Do I need to be at 100? What's your recommendation?
Now, we recommend, just from our data analytics, 75% is a good, solid resume, like a score in here. And actually, do you want me to say this here? Jeremy, I have your book right next to me, and I flex this all the time in my meetings here. Even in your book here, about 50%, we kind of see that plateau. From 0 to 50%, we see an increase in interview invitations. But from 50% to 100, it kind of does plateau because so many other things are considered in the interview process. Sometimes it's your location. Are you even within 50 miles of the headquarters? Are you available to work right now? Some recruiters need to fill in those positions right now. And what I will say, this comes up with students all the time. I want to get 100% because I want to be seen as the best candidate, right? And students are on Reddit, they're on TikTok, they're on Instagram Reels. There are people who are out there, just copy paste the entire job description in your resume, hide it in a watermark, hide it with font size 0.5, white text it, things like that. Spam, we call this keyword spamming, right? I can tell you that recruiters know that that's happening. And I have a personal friend who is a recruiter out here in Vancouver. They use iSIMS, which is the same ATS that the Amazon uses, and they have a scoring mechanism. Any candidate that comes in at 100%, immediate red flag. What they do as a team, their internal policy is, if you're coming at 100%, okay, they will investigate. Why are you a perfect match? They know there's no perfect resume. There's no perfect candidate.
Like finding a unicorn out there in the wild.
Right. If you are 100%, they will investigate. And if they do see that you have copy pasted the entire job description, because most ATSs are text parsers, they will show you all the text that exists in this document. If you have copy pasted or keyword spam, they are immediately red flagged. That email address is barred from applying to their organization for the next 5 years. So I share that with students to be like, do not keyword spam. 100% is not the goal. Okay. You will get red flagged by some recruiters.
Absolutely. Liana,
Mhm.
beautifully said. Okay. I know that folks may have seen similar stuff to what we just discussed in terms of, using different tools to triage students, to review resumes. The next thing is going to really blow your minds because it's really at the cutting edge. So we have one last pop quiz. And this is the big one now. So get ready, y'all. On balance, does AI help or hurt your students' chances of getting a job? A is help, B is hurt. Your final pop quiz is in the chat. And what are you seeing here, Liana? What's the sense of our community?
Oh, some people hear both.
Aha,
Yeah.
savvy. And what do you think's behind that, Liana? You've been a career coach yourself. What would you say here?
What do I say here? I love my students that I have all supported. That's what I'll say first. As a caveat, I love my students. But you're right, Bernie, you're right here. They are not using it correctly sometimes. There
Yes.
are some trends here. AI is making us stupider. They're shrinking our brain size. There's, lots and lots of research are coming out. But even in conversations with our partners here of like, oh, students are using ChatGPT for their resume or their cover letter. The thing is, I cannot guarantee that their prompt in ChatGPT is going to be a good prompt. They're mucking about in there, right? They're doing whatever. There's no sort of guardrails for them when they're just like on the internet doing whatever. So while AI, even for us, it helps with that grammatical structure, it helps with students who are experiencing language barriers, it helps to speed things along. It's always helpful in that regard. But depending on what they're doing on the internet, maybe, yeah, they are shrinking their brain size. We don't know. We cannot guarantee,
Right.
right? Yeah.
And the way that I think about this, and I totally agree with you, Liana, is that AI, as crazy as it is just another tool. It's another sort of step forward in the arsenal of things we can use. And like every tool, there are good uses and bad uses. If you've got a chainsaw and you've got to clear out some brush, that's awesome. If you've got a chainsaw and you've got a stick of butter that you want to put on your pancakes, probably not a good fit. And we see a lot of students using AI like a chainsaw on butter to ultimately shoot themselves in the foot. So bottom line, we got to be using AI the right way. And I do think that probably the best use case I've seen for AI is not even just resumes, not even just like triage, but really helping with the stuff where one career coach serving 10,000 students just can't possibly give every student a personal experience 100 times a day, whereas AI might be able to get a little bit closer.
Yeah.
So to see how this is possible, especially in the realm of interviews, I want you to raise your hand one last time. And our final volunteer is going to be Lorena. So Lorena, feel free to turn on your microphone. There you go. And come and join us for our very final demo. Welcome, Lorena.
How are you?
Hi, how are you?
I'm good.
So Lorena, tell me this. How many students do you serve? And then how many coaches do you have to serve those students?
So right now there are 5 career coaches. I'm losing 3 because of the cuts.
Oh my
We
God.
have 5,500 active students, 30,000 plus alumni. And we have first year seminar and last year seminar where career coaches are actively integrated in the curriculum. So we approve students' resumes first year and their last year. So we have to review all those resumes and so we serve actively a big population.
Okay, so I'm just doing some simple math here. It sounds like we're talking about, one coach for every 2,500 students, one coach for every 15,000 alumni. Like it just feels so
Correct.
daunting. Now,
Yes.
tell me this, in your heart of hearts, what do you think it takes to get really great at interviewing? If you've got a student who's never interviewed in their lives and now they're interviewing for a job that could be life-changing, how do you take them from a beginner to expert level interview skills?
Practice, all sorts of questions, behavioral, technical. We are just launching a new virtual simulator. So
Aha.
if we can't get them in person, hopefully, they'll be able to practice online. And
Yeah.
we'll also do panels. So with one person, and then we'll do like a panel with a few other people, and we might even throw in some role play because you never know in interviews.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, what it sounds like you're talking about is a super labor intensive process, right?
Correct.
Someone's got to be there to have the time, the expertise, the feedback, all the raw ingredients of building that interview muscle. And so, Lorena, it
Yes.
sounds like you're already exploring some of these virtual tools. Would you like to see what JobScan like literally just launched the other day in this realm?
What I would like to see. Oh, like
Would
the
you be interested
trans.
in getting sort of like one of the first glimpses
Oh,
at this brand
yes.
new JobScan interview tool? Okay, so we're going to go back to our friend Liana here. Liana, I am super excited to see this. Please give Lorraine and myself, the whole group, a little taste of what you guys are cooking up.
Yeah, this is a sneak peek. This is a NACE exclusive. We've just launched this tool. We're so excited for really being sort of the full suite of services for your students with resume optimization. Hopefully they've optimized for the ATS, for the job description, for the company. They got the interview, and now how do we help them with that interview piece in here? So here we go. I'm going to, yes, share sound in here. I would love to for all of you to also hear what is about to happen. So from a JobScan account, if you have partnered with us for the interview tool as well, you will now get an interview practice feature. Oh dear, my internet again. Hold on one second. Let me refresh all of this.
No worries, no worries.
Again,
And
just a Friday, you know?
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Your internet is ready for the weekend. But Lorena,
Totally.
back to you.
There you go.
Out of curiosity, like what do you think is the right number? I don't think there's any like research on this, but what do you think is the right number of like practice sessions with really good feedback that would get someone to that like sort of mastery level?
You know what? It depends. There are a lot of
Yeah.
students who are outgoing, who they've done their research, they've practiced their elevator pitch, they know what they're about, they know what they want, and then there's some students really need that extra work. They need those extra rounds. So maybe I would say in the quote unquote worst case scenario, maybe 3 rounds, and then if you're good to go, maybe like 1, 2 rounds is good for you.
Because I was just thinking like for 5,500 students, that's something like 15,000 hours of practice. And I was thinking two staffers at 2,000 hours a year, even if you spent your entire year working on interviews, you wouldn't get close. I think this is where like the AI can fill in that gap.
Yeah.
So yeah, tell us more, Leon.
Yeah. I mean, even in my experience, sometimes students need to prep themselves even before they get to my session because even interviewing with me, which is so, there's no risk at all, they're also nervous, right, to speak to a professional about it. So we have this now interview tool with partner with my interview practice, where we are using AI to help them to simulate an interview and get them to practice. So when you log in here, we have a few ways that we can help them with the interview practice. But if you have some students who really need some that foundation, that learning, we do have some resources in here, a library video course that they can learn about why is an interview important and how to prep even before they hop into the interview. But let's get into the meat and potatoes. We do only have like 10 minutes left. So we have general interviews, set questions already. They can practice talking about a skill or just sort of the HR screening questions. We can custom build interviews. So if they already have questions that they want to practice, they can go and custom build that. But let's go and try out interviews by job position. So I'm going to choose a job position here. We're going to do the one that we used for Jeremy's resume today for the Senior Director Product Marketing one. So let's see.
All right, there's still hope for me, Liana.
There's still hope, but I'm doing the interview as you. So we'll see how well I perform in this. And for the interview settings, I can adjust it. Maybe it's going to be mid-level. This is a senior director role, but I can adjust this to also internship role, and I can adjust how long I want this to be. And then select simulator mode. This one I like as an accessibility tool for students. There's practice interview and real interview. Practice interview allows the students to stop the recording, restart the question, give them some time to be like, okay, no, let me think about this and then practice my answer. For students who want to really challenge themselves, there is an option to do a real interview where you do not get to restart the questions, just like in a real interview. So those students who feel a little bit more ready, who do want to challenge themselves, who want to push themselves, that's a great tool in here just to say, there's no, once the questions go, you're going, and then you got to go. And then you just got to, if you're messing up, you still have to land on your feet. Let's see how well you do. But we'll do a practice interview today, just for sort of the ease of mind for myself to be interviewing as Jeremy. So let's paste the job description in here. I want it to be specific to this position, right? So I'm going to copy and paste this here.
And I just want to say I love this, Liana, because I used to recommend the LinkedIn interview prep tool that some of you may have known about, but it was just generic questions, tell me about yourself, all that kind of stuff. These are going to be really customized questions to this job, which obviously is a more realistic simulation. So I love that.
It's not only customized to the job, it's also customized to your resume and your
Yes.
experience. So I have yours loaded here. You can upload one. So realistically, from a student, they have that optimized resume from JobScan and they got that interview. They'll upload that, see like, this is the content in the resume that got me this interview, and I can choose one. So they can load as many as they need to. So I'm going to use the Jeremy's resume here for that product marketing manager one. And so I will see now the interview be catered to this job posting and my resume as well. So it's going to ask me about my experience. Well, Jeremy's experience here. So tech check, is my video okay? My audio, my network. Okay, I can see myself here. And hopefully this doesn't break Zoom or NASA's Zoom or my interview tool to have two cameras on at the same time. So creating a unique interview just for you. Okay. I
so
hope
excited.
everybody's volume is up so you can hear my interviewer ask me questions. Alrighty.
Great to have you here. What about this opportunity best aligns with your career goals and strengths?
Okay, here, it's getting started. I can open this up here to look at my screen. So I'm going to just look towards here. It's like, hi, thank you so much for having me. My name is Liana, and I'm very excited to interview for this role here. So what about this opportunity best aligns with my career goals and strengths? Well, I have 10 plus years of experience in product marketing, and I'm excited to bring it to Microsoft for a more tech-focused product marketing initiative. I can stop the recording here. If I felt like, I'm just talking and I'm just pulling things out of the air, let me start this question over.
I don't know, Liana. You're getting a lot. Jacqueline says hired. Dave says crushed it. You would be amazing at improv, Liana.
Thank you. I can move on to the next question. It's like, okay, I got to have a think about this. Let me move on.
Your summary indicates 100% plus year-over-year user growth at tech companies. Can you provide specific examples of strategies you implemented to achieve this growth, including any
obstacles you face? I hope you can hear the interviewer ask me this question, but here it shows it's fully referenced the summary in your resume, this 100% plus year-over-year growth at tech companies. So here again, recording my answer. And if I need to start over, I can stop recording and start over for those students again who need that practice. But again, real interview mode means, okay, you're just gonna go. So we're not gonna go through the entire interview here because I think that's like 7 to 10 questions, but I'm gonna show you now the feedback that it gives you. So this was an interview I prepped beforehand for a more entry-level role, so more suited to some of your students who are just graduating, maybe a customer service rep. I can review the video that I had recorded or myself, and the AI sort of feedback gives me not just the feedback on my content in my answer, it does give me a look at my pace. What other filler words have I used? A negative tone, smile detection, why the long face? But most importantly for the content, it will go through, give me feedback using the STAR method. So the situation, task, action, result, which common practice for us in career services to sort of talk about the formatting for a good answer in an interview. So here's a proposed answer that they break down in situation, task, action, and result. And I can read more. I can go into it to really look at more feedback in here. So the proposed answer filled out, but even again, going back to those filler words and things like that, this is why filler words matter, why you should avoid this, how can we practice to not use filler words? It detects all of my filler words in here, why pace matters, why the pauses matter, right? Why eye contact matters also in this. So am I giving enough eye contact to the camera? But again, I love this method here of the STAR method giving me that answer, the suggested answer in the STAR method. And I can keep going through all the different questions that I was asked, right? Even here, speed. Oh, slow down, speed racer. You had a lot of enthusiasm, but why pace matters? So pace talks about confidence, right? Speaking too quickly can appear rushed. So this is the AI feedback that we can provide to each student when they do these practice interviews. And this this interview also can be shared with their career coaches. Okay?
Okay, we are down to like 3 minutes here, Liana.
Yeah.
And I want to give goodies to everyone because we did promise that at the very beginning.
Yes, we are.
So, first things first, just a quick reminder. We know this is a challenging world. We know all this crazy stuff is going on, but there are tools and resources, whether it's JobScan or others, to really focus on what matters, to make sure that students are giving recruiters what they need, and ultimately to use AI in the best possible way, not the worst possible way. And so to that end, a couple of things I want to just encourage. Number one, we'd love to keep the conversation going. You know, this stuff just came out last week, and I know next week new stuff will come out. So if you want to keep chatting about this stuff, feel free to connect with us. Here's Liana's profile. I know Liana is a LinkedIn super user. And of course, feel free to connect with me as well. Number two, Liana, are you ready for the grand reveal? What are
Yes.
folks getting access to or entered into by virtue of staying on?
So by staying here for the entire thing and hanging out with us for the entire hour, JobScan is going to pick one team where we're going to sponsor lunch. We'd love to buy you lunch just by being here. So we're going to take a look at afterwards when this webinar closed, we're going to take a look at everybody who was here and we'll contact one of you just to say, hey, lunch on us. Thank you so much for coming to this webinar.
I was going to say, if the way to a student's heart is through free pizza, the way to a career coach's heart is through free lunch. So love that. And then I'll just say, I'll throw in another goodie here for staying along. Would love to keep the conversation going on, especially around AI and all these trends. So I built out a whole community around it. It's normally about $100, but you're getting free access for joining in. Just use the code NACE. NACE is, of course, the key driver of this whole event today. And if you put the code NACE in, you will get that for free. So bottom line, those are our goodies. Liana, any final words of wisdom you want to share with folks before we send them off into their weekends?
You know, we do such important work here for career services. You know, when students report why they're going to higher education, one of the top reasons is career success. So what we're doing is really, really impactful for a lot of students. So I appreciate everybody here attending to learn more about resources that can help for students, help with students' career success. So I'm in this road with you. I'm there with you. You know, and I'm really excited to support all of you here. So if any of you wanted to reach out to us to look at some of our tools, we're happy to have a chat with you. Some of my teammates in here will put a link to get a demo if you'd like, or just have a chit chat for best practices on utilizing AI. Yeah.
And then I just want to thank you so much, Liana, for sharing your awesome gifts. I can see what made you an amazing coach.
Thank
To all our
you.
awesome volunteers, to NACE itself and Jasmine, and to all of you for taking an hour in this super busy season, for coming along on this journey with us. Can't wait to see the amazing things you're going to do for your students and for the world. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Have a good weekend.